Welcome back to the Language Institute. I'm out here admiring the structure of the Department of Context. And I'm struck by how each element, every arch, column, and window, works together to create a cohesive and inspiring whole. It got me thinking about how we structure our ideas in writing. Over the past weeks, we've been exploring the influences that shape the texts we read, using the claim, evidence, reasoning framework to communicate our insights. Next, we'll focus on assembling all these components into a comprehensive literary analysis essay. For today's mission, we'll explore how comprehensive literary analysis essays are built, clarify what's expected in your essay, and kick off your writing process. So get your lesson materials ready. And let's head inside to start constructing a framework for your analysis. We'll be working to build your essay today, but first, let's power up our brains with a little metaphor brainstorming. Crafting an essay is kind of like constructing a building, and this comparison reveals some important ideas about the writing process. Think about these images and what you already know about writing essays. Take a moment to stretch your mind and think of how writing might connect to the process of building a house. Which step in the writing process could each of these images represent? There are no wrong answers here. Pause the video to brainstorm ideas and make some notes. Think of laying the foundation as developing a strong claim. Framing the structure is like planning how you'll organize the evidence to support your claim. Strengthening that frame, that's where you'll explain exactly how each piece of evidence supports your claim. And once you've put it all together, you'll have a complete structure, a strong literary analysis that's ready to stand on its own. Finally, like any well-built structure, you'll refine it by adding the finishing touches. With that in mind, let's explore the specifics of your essay assignment. A comprehensive literary analysis is an in-depth explanation of a literary work that incorporates evidence from other sources to provide additional context. You'll be constructing a comprehensive literary analysis essay that examines a passage from either Beowulf or the Canterbury Tales. Your essay should analyze how two literary elements in the passage, such as imagery, symbolism, characterization, irony, or theme, reflect the cultural and historical influences of the time. So let's think about what you've learned about Beowulf and the Canterbury Tales. How have historical and cultural context shaped your understanding of these works? Pause the video to make some notes. We've examined the influences of the pagan Anglo-Saxon warrior culture on the story of Beowulf, as well as how the influence of Christian values further shaped the story when it was written down. We've stepped into medieval society through the satirical eyes of Chaucer to explore the influences of the church and strict social expectations, such as the chivalric code. Coming up, you'll have the opportunity to choose the specific focus of your analysis. But first, let's deconstruct a sample student essay to get a better understanding of what you'll be expected to do for this assignment. First, what do you notice about the structure of this essay? We've got 4 paragraphs, with the first being the introduction. Beowulf, an epic poem blending pagan and Christian elements, reflects the cultural evolution of medieval England. In the passage depicting Grendel's attack on Herod, the use of vivid imagery highlights pagan values, while the characterization of Grendel embodies Christian concepts of evil. The first sentence sets up the context for this essay, letting the reader know what text and issues will be the focus of the analysis. Then comes the most important sentence in the whole essay, where the student states the claim as a thesis statement. Check out what this student has included in the first body paragraph. Pause the video to read and make notes about what you notice. The paragraph begins with a topic sentence focused on the first part of the claim. Then, we've got some evidence from Beowulf with reasoning that explains how it supports the claim. Even more evidence is included to add some historical context, once again using in-text citations and reasoning. So, if the first body paragraph focuses on supporting the first part of the claim, what do you think the second body paragraph will focus on? That's right, the second part of the claim. Notice how the student smoothly transitions from the first body paragraph to this next part of the claim. Take a moment to read this paragraph and make notes about what you notice. We have a transition to a topic sentence focused on the second part of the claim, along with two sets of evidence that include in-text citations and reasoning. Finally, the conclusion paragraph, where the student restates the claim, summarizes the analysis that's been presented, and provides a closing insight. But what text was the student actually analyzing? Let's check out the sample student sources. The student used an article that discusses the background of Beowulf, along with a passage from the story. Notice these names in parentheses? For this assignment, each text you analyze will include the last name of the author that you can use for your in-text citation to signal which source each piece of evidence comes from. By following the model this student has provided, you can meet the expectations from the rubric. Your essay will also include an introduction that sets up the context for the topic and includes a clear claim, stated as a thesis statement. You'll have two body paragraphs that each begin with a topic sentence that directly supports the claim and use evidence and reasoning from both texts to support it. Finally, in your conclusion, you'll restate the claim, summarize the analysis, and provide a closing insight. Make sure your in-text citations are formatted correctly and your writing is clear. Now that we've explored a sample essay and the expectations for this assignment, let's take a moment to reflect. How did the model essay help clarify your understanding of incorporating historical and cultural context into literary analysis? How will you apply this understanding to your own writing? It always helps when you have a model to follow. So now, just like our sample student, you'll choose one focus for your essay, along with a text set to provide you with evidence from both the literature and a supporting article. There are 4 text sets, and you can choose the one that interests you most. Text sets 1 and 2 focus on the influences of pagan, Christian, and warrior cultures in Beowulf. Text sets 3 and 4 focus on satire, the church, and the chivalric code in the Canterbury Tales. Explore these text sets more on the following pages and think, which sets appeal to you most and why? Pause the video to make some notes. Whoa! It must be time for some claim storming. Let's walk through the steps to help you pick your focus and generate ideas for your claim. First, which text set do you choose for the focus of your analysis? You'll use the article in the text set you choose and one of the literary passage options. Pause the video to record your choices. Next, you'll rewrite the prompt to include the specific focus of the text set you've chosen. For the sample essay, this would be something like, analyze how 2 literary elements reflect the pagan and Christian influences in Beowulf. Now pause the video to clarify your prompt based on the text set you chose. Now it's time to think about your analysis. For step 2, read your chosen passage and think about the literary elements that reflect the cultural and historical influences discussed in the article. Do you see some imagery or characterization being used to represent a bigger idea? Or maybe you've spotted some irony or symbolism at work. Revisit previous lessons in this unit if you need ideas. Then, in step 3, choose the 2 literary elements that best highlight the influences. And finally, for step 4, bring it all together and draft your claim by clearly addressing the literary elements and the influences they reflect. Refer to the sample student notes to help you shape your own, and pause the video to complete your claim storming. Now that you've had the opportunity to think about your options and brainstorm ideas for a claim, it's time to take the next steps in your analysis. Follow the analysis blueprint guide to refine your claim and identify the textual evidence that best supports it. Over the next few days, keep working through your lesson materials to construct your essay step by step. Remember, you're the architect here, so lay a solid foundation and let your ideas build a structure that stands strong. Hey.